What's going on, guys? This is a channel about Nietzsche and the random philosophy that I am interpreting to help my life be a better life. I love Nietzsche. I love his writings. Again, I'm no expert at this. I've just been reading Nietzsche for a year. I love his writings and where it can be implemented in my life. I want to discuss. Today, we are going to discuss the will to power. And a lot of people begin to interpret that or look at that in a crude way. That's not what Nietzsche was getting at. He was getting at the will to power as power over self. He read Schopenhauer's book, The Will on Everything, or whatever it's titled. Don't quote me on that. And he began to come up with this concept of the will to life, this intrinsic nature within us, this metaphysical dynamic force that we all have a will to power. To have power over self, to exhibit that power over others in some circumstances, or to exhibit over ourselves. But the idea here is that I want to bring in is the will to power over self. Is there this intrinsic force within us that has a power to become more, to have that life-affirming yes, to say yes to all things? Nietzsche talks about life is suffering. And for me, the will to power is the ability to overcome tragedy and suffering in our lives and still say yes to life, to have that amor fati, the love of fate, even when the obstacles and the bad and the tragedy and the things strike that we do not like. We still have that will to power. We harness that nature within us to overcome those things and say yes to life, to say yes to all things. And think about it. We all know that unexpected happens. When no tragedy occurs, we know things come out of the air, smack us right in the face. And a lot of times we fail, we falter, we don't rise to the occasion. And we're going to feel sorry for ourselves and we're going to have regrets. Instead, I want to begin to say yes to life and to have that will to power, to harness that nature within me that says yes, become more, and to become more like that Übermensch that Nietzsche talks about and describes. We all want a little bit of power. And again, I don't mean that in a crude Hitler-like way. We want the power of success. We want the power over self, to maintain that diet, to maintain that friendship, to maintain life as it is. We have this intrinsic nature within us to want more. We all want a little bit more. That is the will to power. That's that metaphysical nature, that psychological nature, that mindset that we rise up when things are bad. We rise up when things are good. We have the will to power to be more, to say yes to life in all instances and become the person that we know we're capable of. And at the end, that's what it is. I believe that's explicitly what Nietzsche was getting at when he says the universe in all its glory is the will to power. What it all comes down is to the will to exhibit yourself in this creative way, to rise to your full potential, to say yes to life. We all have the will to live. We do things that help us live. So we all have the will to power to become more than we are and to begin to exhibit that power in forms of success, right? The businessman exhibits power by becoming rich. The artist exhibits his will to power by creating. We all have this will to be more. That is the will to power that Nietzsche is describing. So what are we doing today to say yes to life, to harness that force of power within us to become more? And that's what it means to me. What am I doing day in and day out? Stringing together some days that make a week, stringing together some weeks that make a month, stringing together some months that make a year. That's how I'm exhibiting my will to be more and to live out the will to power, to live my life to the fullest, to say yes to life in all instances, and to become more like that Übermensch that Nietzsche describes. You guys will hear from me next episode.